Dave Scott, Hub Media. Today we're going to try something a little different. This is a story I've written for the January 2024 Hub. Thanks again for reading the Hub. We really appreciate it, folks. We kind of made this one into a little audio version of it so that maybe you could hear my thoughts as well on this. And I would like to share this story with you. And, if you like this, let us know. Maybe we'll try and do a few more this way. The story is called Don't Judge a Book by Its Cover. Back in the early 2000s, when Monica and I were running our summer day camps for the NYCA, we always made provisions for children who may not have the funds to come to camp. This is something we did for a lot of years with the camp, and we always wanted to help kids have the best day possible. Some of the stories I could share with you were heart-wrenching, and we always did our best to make every child have the best day possible at camp. Their smiles at the end of the day always made us feel like we had made a difference in their lives for that day, for just that day. We had helped make life a little bit better. We were always learning about different situations that kids were living through. Everything from attention deficit to Asperger's to trauma to FASD, which is fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, a condition that occurs when a child is exposed to alcohol before birth. So in the womb, the mother may have drank, and this may have caused a permanent brain injury with this child. For myself, every day was a positive learning process with all these kids and learning how their situations just all reminded me how important it was for our whole community to do their part and help wherever we could. It was during this time that I recognized just how devastating FASD could be in a child's life. Like I said earlier, it's a brain injury that will not get better. And this is 20 years ago, folks, that we were seeing this. I remember having to tell them it was time to eat, or helping them figure out how to put on a life jacket. Just getting them to understand verbal instructions was a lot of work. You were trying to really make it a positive experience, but you had to sort of help them as much as you could. They were trying their best to fit in. They desperately wanted to play with all the kids, and it was frustrating for them not to be able to find a rhythm within themselves. And I think that's part of it, right? With every kid, they want to go play with their buddies and have fun and understand what's going on. At that time, both Monica and I worried, where do these kids end up later on in life? Is there programs that will support them? And in a lot of cases, there isn't after the age of 18. So, you know, we wanted to make their lives their best day possible at that point. Remember, like I said earlier, this was back in 2004. And according to homelesshub.ca, 1.4 million Canadians today are living with FASD. Wow, that's a big number. And it goes on to state that 90% of those individuals with FASD struggle with mental health issues. Folks, that's just huge. Now, let's stop and think for a moment. With folks with FASD did not do this to themselves. It was a brain injury from being exposed to alcohol before birth. Part two of this story, let's dive a little deeper and let's look 20 years down the road and see, what's happened. On a recent trip into the city, like everyone else, you run into homeless folks. You see them on the street. And I began to wonder from all those years ago, what happened to those kids? How are they doing? Is someone supporting them? Are they in jail? Are they living on the streets? I wanted to explain all this just to drive the point home that's been bothering me lately. And this is where the story sort of resonated and started from. I saw recently on social media, folks just taking shots at homeless people, calling them nothing but drug addicts, alcoholics, and we're wasting our taxpayers' money on them. Basically, that's what folks were saying, and it really bothered me that we were making all these assumptions, not understanding what each individual's life may have gone through to get to that point. And that's why I wanted to just educate for a moment on this. Like I said earlier, you've got 1.4 million folks with FASD. Okay, there's going to be a lot of homelessness there. And again, I'm just reiterating this fact that it's not their fault. It's not, they didn't do this to themselves. And we have to find a way to help them, that's for sure. I don't have the answers. I've seen it when it's in a very young child, and I can't even imagine what it's like to be an adult stuck at a 3 or 4 year old mentality. And that's basically what's happening here to some of these folks. It's just, what do we do? I want to run this by you too. The definition by the Canadian Observatory on Homelessness, this was 2017, is a situation of an individual, family, or community without stable, safe, permanent, appropriate housing, or the immediate prospect and the ability to acquire it. Okay, that's their definition. So you can see when you start looking at homelessness, it's a big ball here. Homelessness is a unique experience for everyone, taking on many different forms and effects. It affects different groups differently. It's not a choice, and it's a cause should not be perceived strictly as an issue of housing instability, but rather as a multifaceted issue that may intersect with a variety of structural, social, and individual problems, including unemployment, discrimination, domestic violence, mental health, and addiction. So that kind of gives you an overview of what we're dealing with as a society. In the cases of someone with FASD, they have not had the opportunity since the day they were born. I keep bringing it back to that point because I think it's important for this article. Being born with a brain injury through no fault of their own is our responsibility as a community to help in any way possible to help provide the best life forward for anyone with FASD. A moment frozen in time back in the camp days was taking a young boy with FASD out on the two-seater kayak and watching him let his hands run through the surface of the water as I paddled. His smile was wide and bright, and the sensory feel of the water provided him with a level of calm and peacefulness that brought life to a child's eyes. That was an amazing part of the journey. That proved to me that we could help. That proved to me that, we need to make that commitment to understand and educate ourselves as a community on what's going on with our homelessness, who these folks are, and how we can help. Folks, stop judging a book by its cover. Open the book and learn. Thank you for listening today, and I hope you get the opportunity to read the January 2024 Hub. Hubmedia.info is the website. Check it out, read our stories, and enjoy. And if I helped you just think for a moment a bit differently about homelessness, then I've did my job. Take care, have a great day, and thanks for reading the Hub.